Good morning, and thank you for joining us today. I'm Kelly Hawkins. I'm the Director of Public Information and Government Affairs here at Spokane Regional Health District. And today I'll be interviewing our health officer, Dr. Francisco Velasquez. And we're going to talk about the PFAS issue out in the West Plains and the newly formed West Plains PFAS Task Force with Spokane County, and also about how we're hiring PFAS navigators to help with the process of getting filters into private well owners' homes. So, Dr. Velasquez, thank you.
Good morning, and thank you.
Thank you for joining us today.
Sure. And you said everything, so now I can leave.
So let's start off with just talking about what entities or agencies are part of that PFAS task
Sure.
force.
So the task force has a very broad representation. So we have members from agencies such as Department of Health, Ecology, and others. We also have members of the jurisdictions from county, some of the municipalities around the West Plains area, community members, those from impacted areas like the West Plains Water Coalition, as well as the Palisades neighborhood, and a few experts on testing, filters, et cetera. So fairly broad, and it's co-chaired by Commissioner French and I.
Mm-hmm. And what is the goals of the task force? What are we
So
trying to accomplish?
that task force was brought together to basically execute on a number of things. The driving force is how do we get clean water to the homes in the in the Western Plains area, the West Plains area. And as part of that, a couple of things needed to be done, which are the purview of the task force. One, we've looked at technology, what kind of technology can be deployed. Two, funding for that technology, and that's actually the main driver of the work we're doing now. And then on the basis of that, we have been assessing around the country and around the world what other types of technical advances are being made for removing PFAS from the aquifer as opposed to just from the wells, which is a little bit of a different scenario. And then last but not least, long term, are there any alternative means of providing water to those neighborhoods?
Yeah. And so when you take a look at that work, how does that work complement the efforts from other agencies that are working with Fairchild Air Force Base and the Spokane International Airport?
So a lot of people have been doing a lot of work. You mentioned Fairchild, Ecology, Department of Health. They have been working on education, gathering information, testing, providing resources and access to many of the communities, and providing guidance to the airport and the Fairchild and others as to what is it that we need to be doing. So what we're doing is not only taking and learning from everything they're doing, utilizing some of that information, but taking a very specific action on one item, which is how do we get funding, which we did, to install point-of-entry treatment systems to clean the PFAS from the water before it gets to the home. So we're focused right now on that right now. But the other areas, such as long-term water resources, et cetera, that's where we work with all of these other agencies in tandem.
Great. And part of that funding allowed us to hire some PFAS navigators.
Well, that was
right? Well, you tell
additional
me.
funding.
Additional funding.
So we secured about $7.5 million for the systems.
Mm-hmm.
But then as we convened the task force, learning from others and other efforts, we recommended having community-based navigators to help us not only make that point, be the point of contact for the members of the community, but also to be able to bring resources and coordination, et cetera. So actually the counties, Spokane County, pursued and acquired additional funding so they could contract with SRHC, and we are the employers, although they're being funded by the county, not by us.
Right. And what will the role be for those navigators?
So these navigators are community-facing, very similar to our community health workers that we deploy in many areas. So they're going to go into the neighborhoods and talk to the people, gather some basic information. More importantly, they will be a conduit. Like if you're a homeowner, you have questions, they may not be an expert on the engineering or the systems or the testing, but they will have access to the resources, and they will be able to connect you or bring you to the resources out there from all these other agencies that we talked about.
And when they're talking with them, that'll help determine who has the greater needs. How will they do that on who will be able to start getting
So,
these
yeah, so we
filters?
decided on the task force so we could continue to move forward. There are about 250 plus households that we have testing, certified testing for. Thank you to Dr. Pritchard, who's a member of the task force and is a national expert. And so we decided to use that immediate geographical area for the work of the navigators, and we're going to use basically two criteria. Number one is what is the highest levels of PFAS. That's kind of like the highest risk. And then there's a couple of other things that we need to know, like, for example, I think children under the age of 6 and anyone pregnant, because there's a higher correlation on pregnancy as well as children under the age of 6 with potential issues. But the main role of these navigators is to be the point of connection and point of access for any community member of that region.
Oh, and when will they begin their work, and how will residents in the West Plains be able to reach
Okay.
them?
So we have recruited actually the two navigators. They're, knock on wood, supposed to start March the 2nd, you know, all the paperwork that needs to happen for that. They're going to go through intensive immersive training for the first week, which I do want to say thank you to our friends from the Department of Health and Department of Ecology, because they have helped us put together a fair amount of material so we can train these folks. So when they go into the community, again, they don't need to be the experts, but they need to know where things are. So they will be deployed to the community. The community is aware because we have been keeping everybody updated through not only the task force, but the members of the West Plains Water Coalition. So as soon as it's official, we will notify everybody and share who the navigators are, and they'll come to the next task force meeting so everybody can see them. Okay. And I'm sure information will be readily available because we have been able to working with all of the community members to make sure that, you know, as many people as possible know what's happening and where it's happening.
Right, and they can always come to those meetings.
And they can come to the meetings
give us
and
a call after they're hired, and we can connect them.
Yep, absolutely,
Okay.
yeah. So they
All
can
right.
contact us, we certainly can connect them.
All right, great. Well, thank you so much for giving us that update on the efforts for PFAS contamination out in the West Plains. We appreciate that and what the task force is doing. Thank you all for joining us, and we'll be back next week.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Stay safe. See you next